American Fugitive by Shingo Zhang. Chapter 16 Turning Point. Ren-Yee walked to a bus stop. Moments later, he got on a bus which headed toward the Yangtze River. Yanfang was frank and direct, and had a sense of justice. He liked that very much. They had many shared interests and hobbies, and lots of spontaneous fun. However, he felt he could not give up his family. Half an hour later, he walked into Wuchang Riverside Park. There were not many people in the park. He saw 3 old ladies chatting among themselves. 2 boys around 3 years old were riding tricycles. 2 old men playing Chinese chess attracted a small crowd around them. Ren-Yee missed his wife and daughter. Jin Yong-Shee was disciplined and motivated, 2 qualities in which he did not exceed. Sometimes, those 2 qualities of Yong-Shee would suffocate him at home. Ugh! Yong-Shee is also very nerdy. But Yong-Shee is not arrogant. Thank God! He missed the happy times spent with Yanfang. But he also began to regret meeting her. If they had not met, there might not be new round of fight and acrimonious breakup. Why didn't I listen to what Song Huimin said a long time ago? What is kind and just? Perhaps kind is just a synonym for stupidity? On the investigation of Lin Biao's case, there was not much he could do. Now I can only hide among migrant workers. I really got stuck in Wuhan, just as Jin Yong-Shee predicted. It was getting dark. Ren-Yee could see smog in the air. He walked up to the embankment which was covered by grass, and sat down. He turned on his cell phone. Upon checking his voicemail, he heard Lin Janhan's voice. "Brother Ho, it's Janhan." Ren-Yee immediately stood up. Janhan's voice continued. "Jan Yo and I got the tape and the recorder. But we could only hear noise on the tape. Maybe there is a way to get the tape to the United States. If you can collaborate, send a message to Qingdaming. After listening to this message, please delete it." Ren-Yee was filled with joy. What he had expected happened. I was right. Lin Janhan and Lin Janyo can't do this alone. Now I have another opportunity to uncover the secret behind Lin Biao's plane crash. Thank God! The Catholic Church built in 1936. The words on the front wall mean Catholic Hall. Behind the embankment was Riverside Avenue. Ren-Yee turned around and saw a Catholic church across the avenue. Is this real? Is it a dream? He turned back and looked at the Yangtze River. The river and Hanko's skyline looked like they were covered in a mysterious veil. A freighter ship was moving north slowly. In the distance a ferry was heading south. This is real. A flock of gulls circled above the park. Ren-Yee could swear he heard the gulls singing their praises to the Lord. This is a miracle. He took out his cell phone and took a picture of the gulls. He turned and took a picture of the church. It is really a beautiful church. He walked down the embankment in excitement. He was glad that he had not lost faith in Lin Janhan. He walked along Riverside Avenue to a bus stop. Moments later, he got on a bus. He needed to see a friend. It was dark when the bus came to a stop in a residential area. Street lights were on. Getting off the bus, Ren-Yee saw neem trees on both sides of the street. He walked a while, then stopped under the shadow of a tree. He looked around and saw almost identical apartment buildings. 3 people walked toward one apartment building. He walked behind them. The building had 3 entrances. He took the middle entrance, got to the 2nd floor, and knocked on a door. A woman opened the door. He recognized her as Guo Jing-Jun's wife. He said, "I am Ren-Yee." Although Ren-Yee wore a jacket covered with paint stains, Jing-Jun's wife recognized him. She was surprised. "How did you get here?" "I am concerned about Jing-Jun." She hesitated. Then she said, "Come in." He followed her into the master bedroom. Jing-Jun lay in bed. His cheeks had large dark bruises left by policemen who punched him in the face repeatedly. Jing-Jun did not move. But a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, which was the most he could manage under the circumstances. Ren-Yee walked to the bed and took Jing-Jun's hand. Jing-Jun's wife brought a chair for Ren-Yee. Ren-Yee sat down. What are the injuries? He asked. Jing-Jun closed his eyes for a moment and said, I don't want to talk about that. Jing-Jun's wife said, The bandages on his head just got removed today. Ren-Yee didn't know how to express all the feelings he had: love, sympathy, regret, anger at the police, and the rest. Jing-Jun said, You didn't need to come. A phone call would have been fine. Ren-Yee said, I didn't expect you to be beaten like this. Go back to America. I know. Ren-Yee decided not to tell Jing-Jun about Lin Jianhun's message. Then Jing-Jun said, Don't deal with Lin Jianhun anymore. Ren-Yee said nothing. Jing-Jun said, He was like Lin Biao. Jing-Jun shook his head in disgust. Ren-Yee smiled. The communist propaganda said Lin Biao betrayed Mao. So for most Chinese, the name, Lin Biao, became synonymous with traitor. Ren-Yee didn't rebuke because he didn't want to start a debate. Jing-Jun's wife said, If there's nothing important to talk about. Ren-Yee felt offended by the remark, but he stood up politely. Jing-Jun needs lots of rest. I also need to leave, Ren-Yee told her. I'm sorry I can't help. She said, No need. It's probably better if we don't contact each other. She wept as she spoke. Jing-Jun said, Thank you. You are welcome. The two men shook hands, and Jing-Jun smiled. Ren-Yee was on a bus, which was moving along a busy street. It came to a stop next to a town square and an upscale mall. The town square was neat and pretty. Some kids were playing around a booth which sold snacks. Men and women in flashy dress were laughing with drinks in their hands. Meanwhile, Jing-Jun's tragic experience at the hands of the police was still in Ren-Yee's mind. The injustice Jing-Jun suffered contrasted with the joyful atmosphere in the square. Have any of these people encountered police brutality? Do they have relatives or friends who have been abused by the authorities? Or have they completely erased the bad memories? Ren-Yee did not know the answer. The bus reached the second bridge over the Yangtze River. The streetlights on the bridge looked dim. Ren-Yee tried to see the river below, but he could not see anything, because it was completely dark below the bridge. Ren-Yee's mood also darkened. Yang Hongmei's parents were honest and peaceful people. They didn't expect their daughter to be detained for so many days. Nor did they expect their request for a visit to be denied. 3 days ago, they had persuaded Hongmei to report to the police. They thought she would come home after interrogation. But Yang Hongmei was transferred to a detention center on the second day. When her parents learned about the transfer, they immediately looked for backdoor contacts through relatives. They found one inside the Public Security Bureau. They gave money to the head of the detention center through the contact, and requested that Hongmei be treated well. In addition, Hongmei's parents burnt incense in front of Guanyin Bodhisattva for the protection of their daughter. Hongmei and 5 other women were put in one room. 2 bunk beds were on one side of the room. The third bunk bed was on the other side. The ceiling lights were turned off at 10 o'clock, but a night light was on. Yang Hongmei lay on an upper bunk with her eyes closed. The woman below her sobbed. Her crying got louder and louder. Another woman got up from bed and shouted in Wuhan dialect, What the hell are you crying for? I am not in a good mood. Stop your damn crying. You want to die? Just find a wall and hit it with your head. Hongmei pulled up her blanket and covered her head. The woman below stopped sobbing. Ren-Yee returned to his temporary residence. He walked into the bedroom and sat down on his mattress. Li Baoxing asked, Hey brother, are you a Falun Gong? Falun Gong, a religious movement with lots of followers in China, had been under a government crackdown. Ren-Yee smiled and shook his head. I am not a Falun Gong. Tan Zhaohui asked, Are you hiding from your wife? Ren-Yee smiled again. When a person is in a jam, he needs a place to live. Ren-Yee walked out of the apartment and called Qin Deming in an open space. Please tell Lin Jianhun that I have ways to take the tape to the United States. Ren-Yee's tone was firm and calm. Qin Deming said, Got it.